the entire match.
Mark?
Are they going to shake hands on the 6th of March?
Are they going to shake hands? Olisani Nomeva, who's a boxer, won 1 million rands in the competition. This was in 2015, Olisani Nomeva. Uti, wani?
Jack.
Hey, B.
A big one. Logo dance and the word, but I change it, man. Because it's been 9 years. That's about interesting. And go get us was nice. Was penny there. So that is good.
Complicated.
Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Game over.
Welcome to it. It is Podcast Friday. Welcome to it. The guys are here. They're in studio. Mark not with us. Mark traveling, and he's going to be flying back as we on air. So please do travel safely, Coach Mark. He was out doing his scouting and managerial business. Pitso is Pitso snaps. We've got Nadim here. Nadim, I've started something on Twitter. I call it Ask Podcast Friday, where people just ask questions, random questions from whatever it is they want to know in football. Somebody's already asked you a question. So Nadim, your question is coming up in a few. Mahuta is going to be joining us today. He's our guy. You know, whenever we need a guy, Mahuta's our guy. People love hearing Mahuta's opinions. So Khama Billiat is going to be joining us. Here's some of the topics we're going to be discussing, yeah? One topic we're going to be discussing is with a conversation with former Free State Stars coach, Polokwane City coach, Luke Emel. Luke says that he spoke to Kaizer Chiefs through his manager, who spoke directly to Kaizer Jr., but says that he doesn't want to reveal what he says was the answer from Junior, but then he says then he went and had a conversation. Is he a good fit for Kaizer Chiefs in the first place? Is he a person that Kaizer Chiefs maybe should be even talking to if they are? So we'll get into that. And then the other one, it was done through our sister station here at the SABC. The big question, Mohsin Etugro, what he's had to say about Kaizer Chiefs. Then Dr. Kumano's has something to say about Themba as well. So there's a lot to talk about here on Podcast Friday. Let's take a break.
Nottingham Forest are navigating a path to the top half of the table.
Has to be a goal from Hudson. Yes! There we go! Get in there! Wrap it up against West Ham United.
While Liverpool focus on a massive strategy to be on the summit until the end of the season.
Oh! That's outstanding! Liverpool have turned the game on its head. McAllister's thunderous cross.
Experience the Premier League contest between Nottingham Forest FC and Liverpool FC on Saturday 2 March at 4:30 p.m. live on SABC 3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCsport.com. Hashtag we love it here. Brought to you on SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
All right, apparently my mic wasn't great. Is it better now? Much better? All right, cool. Thanks so much for all those alerting us about our mic being soft and not being able to hear us clearly. So let me repeat a lot of what we said. Mark is not with us today. He's out doing his other business. You know, he is a person that takes care of players and minds the business of players from a managerial point of view. So he's out doing that business, but he's going to be back with us in the coming weeks. So next Friday, you can look forward to Coach Mark Haskins, who joins us every single Friday as part of the Podcast Friday squad. And then Nadim's here. Biso's here, and we've got one of our favorites here on the show. He's a regular whenever we do need him. People love his opinions. You can catch him on the Sundowns podcast as well. He's always on that. Mahuta is going to be engaging with us. The topics we're going to be covering include the ones that you've sent us, the questions that you've sent us. Go to Twitter. It's at Andile Ngube, at SNA with Andile, where we say, Ask the Podcast Friday guys. So some of the questions that you've asked, we'll be asking to the guys as well. And remember, they're going to be choosing one match over the weekend that they'll be giving us a lowdown and their thoughts on. But some of the topics we're going to be talking about include Luke Emel, former Free State Stars and Polokwane City coach, who says there's been conversations between his team and Kaiser Chiefs. Goes on to say that he thinks that this is the best Chiefs squad in a long time. Right? So he obviously wants his hands on Chiefs. He's had conversations with Amazulu, and he says he was signing the contract, and all of a sudden, there was no contract to sign. He's had conversations with many teams, and Chiefs seems to be the one that he wants. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss also Dr. Khumalo, his views on Themba Zwane. It's a question I asked him on a podcast that we do together, and, you know, his answer to that as well. So that's one of the big things we're going to be talking about. But also from our sister station here, a conversation with Mohsin Etugrul, where he speaks about the issues and challenges at Kaizer Chiefs. Let's park that for a little bit. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about. Khama Billiat unveiled out in Zimbabwe. It was a big deal, guys. It was a big deal. Khama Billiat, you know, he was doing what we see Ronaldo and them do at the stadium, Mategi Bola, you know, signing contracts. Hey, my man, Themba Zwane was signed. I didn't see him Mategi Bola.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big deal. But firstly, let me introduce our guys. On the far right, he's a social media wizard. He takes care of all our social media, but also he's just one of those immense readers when it comes to all things football. Pitso Snaps!
Thank you so much for the opportunity once again, Ma'a, and good evening to the listeners of the number one sports show in South Africa.
And then, of course, he's the most controversial, but he's the one that everybody loves to hate. Nadim Lukele.
I'm not sure, but controversial. Nice guy. But yeah, Andy, it's good to be here. Yeah, it was interesting to see a church introducing Khama Billiat as a football player. No, it is. I saw it on YouTube.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Katlego Mashego is also with us. Former Swallows, Chiefs, and Orlando Pirates, and Mamelodi Sundowns forward. Mashego Mahuta.
Good evening, Ma'a, and good evening to the guests and the guys in the studio, and good evening to your listeners. And I'm looking forward to chit-chatting everything that happened in the week and all the stories that you spoke about.
Well, there's one that just broke now, and it impacts South Africa in a great way. A man that I did an interview with when I was doing the Africa Cup of Nations out in Cote d'Ivoire, after the Sundowns, after the game, South Africa rather, versus Nigeria. I had a conversation with the coach, Basiera. He's now left that Nigerian job, and we know that this is a job that Pitso's once mentioned. So we'll get into that one as well, because it has a big foot in what South African qualifications will look like. But let's start right at the top. And I'm going to go with you first, B. So have a listen to this. This is Mohsin Etugrul saying that there is no DNA at Kaizer Chiefs.
The team needs to find their own DNA, and the people also want just not the result. They also want to be entered. In the end, the difficulties in a big club, you need to have this DNA that is being transferred to the players. And obviously, very much important, those years I had Dr. Kumalos, Thabo Mukis, Jabu Pulis. There were players from the DNA of Kaizer Chiefs, from the own side. So you buy today players, sometimes they don't understand the way how the team ticks. And obviously, you need to pass that to everyone who comes through.
This is Mohsin Integral speaking to our sister station here at the SABC. He speaks about a DNA. This is, of course, is on the back of Kaizer Chiefs, unable to beat a team that doesn't play in the same league as them in the Nedbank Cup and getting knocked out yet again for yet another season, not being able to qualify outside of the last 32. Pitso, I'm going to start with you. Says no DNA. You don't have that. And he mentions the creative players, if you think about it. He mentions the creative players and says that's who he had. There is no DNA with the current squad.
There's so much truth to that, and it's something that has been said over and over for quite a while now with Kaizer Chiefs. The type of signings that they make compared to the style of play that you would expect from a Kaizer Chiefs. I remember the first time that I was on the show, I mentioned that when they signed Ox, that he's a defensive player. What they needed is creativity in that midfield. For a long time, Kaizer Chiefs has struggled with that. I mean, if you look at the squad that they have right now, another thing that is a problem is the continuity with that squad. There's about 15 players that they signed last year in the squad. There's about 9 from the previous year. So when you're building a team, are they in a rebuild? And if they are in a rebuild, then you need also to be making the right acquisitions in terms of coaches. If you look at the last 4 coaches that they've had, there was a lot of talk about a Gavin Hunt and the style of play that he has. Of course, legendary coach in South Africa based on what he has won, based on the league titles. But in terms of style of play, there's always been an issue there. You look at an Themba Zwane, the inexperience that he had in terms of leading this team and the style of play that they have. You go on to Molifin Tseki, who didn't come with any coaching achievements or in terms of what he had achieved as a coach. You look at Kevin Johnson, who also, as much as he has done so much with the Platinum Stars, has never really won anything in terms of titles as a coach. So there's a serious issue, I feel, in terms of the acquisitions from players to coaches. That identity is lost. And the players that he mentioned, about Thabo Moki, all those type of players were very creative in midfield. You look at the team right now, there is no leaders. When they made those, when they so many players
is Keegan Dolly not a creative player? Is Khama Billiat not a creative player?
But in terms of form, in terms of consistency, they've struggled with that.
All right.
So
No, but they are proven PSL players.
They are proven. Yes, they were Chiefs.
Remember, Kaizer Chiefs inherited the CPT where there was Castro, Khama Billiat, and Dolly, but they couldn't. Those players brought the champion. But
that's what I'm saying. That the coaching that they've gotten has not been able to get that out of them. They've not been able to get a coach that can get the best out of those players, and they haven't consistently built a team that can move them for a couple of years.
Let me leave it there with you, Pitso, and go to Katlego here. Katlego, DNA, and this is not the first time I'm hearing this. Mkonza sits here and speaks about a Chiefs player as well, saying that Chiefs can't just take anybody, the specific Chiefs player, Chiefs material player. Mohsin Integral saying the DNA at Chiefs is lost.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to sound to Chiefs supporters or to Chiefs, Kaizer Chiefs itself, the club, but I feel like the current Kaizer Chiefs, any player can play for that team. I think that's the one thing that they need to sort out, because Chiefs used to have like top players, and now currently they have players that are there that are a bit average. They're not players that are going to win the league. They're not players that are going to consistently perform at that level compared to other teams, So I think Mushin is right. The DNA in the Chiefs setup now is lacking, because they sign players that are not meant for that club. That club is a big club, is a club that has its own character of players, and they always sign top players. And I think when you speak of rebuilding and whatnot, a team can't rebuild for 10 years. If you rebuild, then you need to set up in a way that you're going to rebuild. You need to have a consistent coach that's going to be there for longer, maybe 4 or 5 years. That's rebuilding. But they're rebuilding at the same time. They've had how many coaches in the past 3, 4, 5 years?
If I throw some players your way and say, number one, the CBD, we know what they did at Sundowns. We know that they're top players. And then I bring to you, a player that was one of the best. We all looked at him in wonder, Unchangase, when he came to Kaizer Chiefs. I can bring maybe even Ashley Dupree now when he comes to Kaizer Chiefs. Sitabe was a monster out at AmaZulu. These were players that were performing in the teams that they were at, and that's why Kaizer Chiefs and Ox even, everybody was saying, hey, who is this kid doing so well? Those are players that were performing. They were the best in their teams when Chiefs got them. So is it still any player? Because, another one, he wins best player in the PSL. He goes to Turkey. Lebukhang Manyama comes to Chiefs, doesn't shine.
Jabulo Ngobo was a defender of the season at Swallows. Went to Chiefs.
Here's another one. Jabulo Ngobo.
Yeah.
I understand that. That's why I say Mushin is right. The DNA of Kaizer Chiefs. Do those players have the characteristics to play for Kaizer Chiefs? Probably not. But they were good players somewhere. It doesn't mean if you're a good player at another club, you're suddenly gonna be able to withhold the pressure of playing for a team like Kaizer Chiefs. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But if you have a squad of players that understand the culture at Kaizer Chiefs, that understand the pressures that come with playing for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, Kaizer Chiefs at a certain point had a Matoho, they had a Katande, a Bennett Parker, a Shabalala, a Mandla Masango, a Tiabonga Nkosi. Those were top players. They proved that at smaller teams, and they went to Chiefs and proved that as well. But what I'm saying is, you can't have players that are performing at their clubs and think they can withhold the pressures and they can perform at the standard of a Kaizer Chiefs. That's basically, it's not going to happen. And that's exactly what's happening now. And add to that, with the inconsistencies of...
I'm going to hold it there, Katlego. I need to take a very quick break. Just hold it there for me. We'll carry on just now.
Seize the chance to win your share of 2 million rand every month with Spinner Zonke prize drops. Stake 2 rand or more on selected pragmatic play games every Tuesday and Thursday between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. Hollywood Bets. Take a spin with us. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Friendly reminder that Mr. D is serving up delicious meals deals. From deals like buy one, get one free to scoring up to 30% off at selected restaurants. There's most def a deal to make both your wallet and tummy smile. Mr. D, it's an epic deals are running this week only. Tuck in from the 26th of February to the 3rd of March 2024. And as always, T&Cs apply. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Mr. D app now. It's exactly 23 after the hour 6. I'm sorry, Katlego. We have to pay the bills there, so I cut you a little bit. But perhaps let me let you finish your thought, because I also want to move on to the coach that is offered himself. But just finish your thought there on Kaizer Chiefs and the sort of players you're telling us about. You know, the players that were there, the Masangos, the Siabongas, etc., etc.
Yeah, those were top players, and they had the characteristics to play for Kaizer Chiefs. And I hear a lot of people talking about the CBD and they went to Chiefs and they never achieved it. But at Sundowns, they had backup. At Sundowns, they had players that were there and doing their jobs, you know. They had a Sompo Kekana behind them. They had a Themba Zwane on the right, and the defense was very solid. They had a Langerman on the other side. Those are the things that contributed to that CBD shining. But obviously, when players play or when a team wins, obviously there must be one player or two or three that stand out. And at that time, it was that CBD. But when they went to Chiefs, they were not the same players, and they didn't get the same players to support them at Kaizer Chiefs.
Nadim Mohsin Etegral says the DNA at Kaizer Chiefs is completely gone. The yesteryear great players who were playmakers in particular, Dr. Kumalo, Thabo Muoki, Jabu Pule, no more there, and the team is unrecognizable.
Yeah, it is unrecognizable. That's a fact. It is unrecognizable. But at the same time, you look at the 2020 COVID, where Chiefs lost the league by 1 point. If they didn't draw against Baroka in that game, they would have won the league if they won that game. Unfortunately, they didn't. So it's not like they've been far off from winning the league. There are times where they lost to TS Galaxy via Zakele Lepasa's penalty in Nedbank Cup. They would have won. So it's not like they've been far off from challenging anything. I would like to respectively disagree on the whole thing of players. Honestly, I know I'm one of those who is saying some of the players, the Chiefs, were not Kaizer Chiefs material. But of course, they will be supporting players who are not going to be main starters, but they were very good players. When they signed Khama Billiat, was still very good. Even Pitso wanted him back at one point in time. When they signed Toli, was still good, was still a quality player. They've invested in very, very good players. Kune was still at his best. That's why Nukovic was there. He's already scored 5 goals at TS Galaxy. That's why Kaizer Chiefs reached the CAF Champions League final. They almost won it. Of course, they lost it in the final. That That's how good they are. If you look at the coaches that have coached there, you look at the guy who won the league with Chiefs, the last guy to win the trophy with Chiefs, which is Stuart Baxter. He came back. Of course, he couldn't do it. Gavin Hunt, I mean, he was so bad at Kaizer Chiefs. People almost call him Hunt Gavin. They didn't recognize him, that it was the same Gavin Hunt who was at SuperSport United. He failed. He struggled. Why did he struggle? At the same time, in the Champions League, he did so well. I mean, he carried that team to the semi-finals. He felt that if he continued, he was going to win the Champions League and also maybe improve in the league. I honestly feel that the problem that I saw when they got rid of Gavin Hunt, of course they had to, because they were struggling in the league. I mean, I think at one point in time they were number 14, 15. With quality of players, I don't think it's the only problem. Yes, Pitso and Mashio, they are right that some of the players at Chiefs are not Kaizer Chiefs material. But I don't think it's the only problem. I think they have tried to invest heavily on signings, but there's just something that's not combining at Kaizer. I think the management knows, but it's not something. There's something, man. It's beyond football, my man. It has nothing to do. If you look at the
beyond football,
yeah, I know it's beyond football. Sometimes it takes patience. Okay, the way I see it, I think it's timing when to get rid of a guy. It's not Kaizer Chiefs. It has never been Kaizer Chiefs culture when you grew up. We grew up, Kaizer Chiefs used to win trophies. They never used to get rid of a coach in the middle of the season. It was the first time when I saw when they did that to Gavin Hunt. Then again, Stuart Baxter, the way he left, you felt they were so impatient with him. It was even scary. Then you see those kind of things and combination of signings, as Pitso was saying, you make a recruitment, you don't become patient enough. After a season, you feel like you have not done well. You don't give a guy, Steve Kombela was given 3 years, but the others, they were not given time.
Well, let's very quickly speak about a coach that's offered himself. Luke Emel says he's had conversations with Kaizer Chiefs via his agent, who spoke to Kaizer Jr., but he also spoke to Kaizer Jr., and he thinks they've got a great squad. Have a listen to Luke Emel, former Free State Start coach.
You know, people are asking me about Kaizer Chiefs, but you have to know that also the agent, after the deal fell in Amazulu, and after the coach of Kaizer Chiefs, before he was fired, before they appointed Kevin Johnson as head coach of development, yeah, the agent spoke with Kaizer Chiefs, and unfortunately it seems that Mr. Kaizer Jr. responded on a special way to my agent. Then I wrote him on an email, a personal email, but he said to me that he never spoke with his agent. So, you know, I don't know in this case on which foot I have to dance.
I don't know what a special way is. He says his agent says Kaizer Jr. has responded in a special way. You wouldn't tell me what the special way is. Let me go to Mahuta on this one. Luke Emel, would he be a good fit at Kaizer Chiefs from what we know of him when he's been here in South Africa?
I followed him when he was at Free State Stars, you know, because I was a football person at that time, you know, and I was still playing. I think he's a good coach, but I've listened to top coaches talk and whatnot. And Marcello Lippi, the Italy coach who won the World Cup with Italy, once said, "There's no good coach, but the coach is only made up of his good players. If a coach has good players, then he becomes a good coach." You know, that's why now you see in England, Man City, they go and buy a right back for 50 million or something. But I don't know if he's offering himself to Kaizer Chiefs and Chiefs are not interested, probably because of other things. But I would give him a chance. I think he's a good coach, and maybe if he goes to a bigger team, you know, with more resources and all that than Free State Stars, he might do well. I just don't know how he offered himself to Kaizer Chiefs and what was the conversation there. But I think now Chiefs need to try anything. They need to try all the coaches. I think they need to give
everyone a chance.
For them.
All right, Pitso?
I think before I answer that, I just want to say, you know, South Africa is coming from an AFCON tournament where we were the talk of Africa, we're the talk of the world. There's so much focus on the South African league right now, and you know what we've from what Bafana Bafana have been able to achieve at AFCON. Now, Luke Emel, we have to be very careful with stuff like this. Luke Emel, what he did at Free State Stars was amazing in him winning the Nedbank Cup back in 2018. And, you know, he did well in that season to win that trophy. But if you look at what they did in the league, You know, towards the end of that season, they were struggling in the league because they were looking forward to this Nedbank Cup final. You know, yes, they went on to win the Nedbank Cup. The next season, he was fired after, I think, 10 league games because he'd lost 7 of them. So it's a little difficult to say that him going to a Kaizer Chiefs, because what are we basing it on? In terms of style of play for a Kaizer Chiefs, I'm not sure if he's a really good fit. There's better South African coaches that can do the job at Kaizer Chiefs. If you look at how long he's lasted in the teams that he's coached, I mean, since he left South Africa, he's had 4 jobs. He hasn't lasted a year in any of them.
Wow. Nadim?
Yeah, it's always moving. It's a guy on the move. I know him personally. I remember when I was at Polokwane City, I spent a day with him. He's just not a Kaizer Chiefs coach. That guy is a loose cannon. He just, like, even now, I mean, if, like, let's say Kaizer Chiefs wanted to sign him, now he's revealing the whole thing that Kaizer Junior didn't come back to him and all that kind of thing is unnecessary. Same scenario, he was supposed to join Pirates, I remember very well. He was supposed to replace Roger Desa. Again, I think the way he carried himself, he was already announcing himself as a coach and all. He's just not a Kaizer Chiefs coach. I don't think he can build that team. Yes, he's a good coach for what he has done, but if you look at the teams that he has coached, he has not coached your TP Mazembe, your Ali, he has not coached the elite teams. He has coached these almost promising teams. He usually takes teams from relegation and make them qualify for Champions League and all those kind of things. You can't now say at Kaizer Chiefs can be a solution. He can't be a solution. I don't even think Chiefs can hire him because he's just outspoken too much. Kaizer Chiefs is a big club. You need to watch what you say, of course. He's just one of those guys who can just bring more confusion in the Chiefs. Already there's so many problems. The fans, even if you can see, they want the team to
even
start
I
winning.
still have an issue with him over, you know, the sentiments of what he said when he was out in Tanzania, which he says he was cleared of. But I mean, that's something that I would still need to talk to him about.
Of course, I mean, he's one of those guys. You just don't know what's gonna come from him. Chiefs is a big brand. It has got so many supporters. I mean, I know Calvin Jones is there. He's struggling. Of course, they have to replace him because he's not a future at Kaizer Chiefs. He was hired as a head of development or something like that. They need to get a quality coach who's going to build that team and improve it. I don't think he's that kind of a guy who can improve Kaizer Chiefs.
All right, let's move on from Kaizer Chiefs and the coaches there, what Mohsin has said and what Luke Emel has said. And let's move on to Khama Billiat. We've got Dr. Khama Billiat, who's been announced in
a church.
In Zimbabwe. Mahuta, I saw you move from team to team to team. I go to touch a stadium for take a ball.
Hey, that's interesting. But I would think the club wants to build a vibe around him. He's a big signing for them. I mean, he's a player that comes from South Africa, had a long career in South Africa. And I think Khama as a brand himself, I think he's going to bring a lot to that club. But whether he can still do the things that he did 4 or 5 years ago, we'll wait and see. But I think a move back to Zimbabwe is a step back for him in his career. But we just wish him the best, and we know he's getting old. He can't do the same things that he used to do. But
I mean, it's good to, if that's the case, it's nice to go retire at home and bring some excitement into the Football League at home.
Yeah, of course. I think even the club that Yada, I think they looked at that, and that's why they made a whole movie about him coming back to Zimbabwe. So I would think it serves them well, and maybe it might improve their league or the standard of football in that side. But you know, I wish him all the best.
Nadim?
Yeah, it's one of those players you just wish him all the best because he tried his luck at SuperSport United. It didn't work out. At Kaizer Chiefs, he was no longer the same guy he was at Sundowns. In Zimbabwe, I'm not sure the standard of the league. Yeah, it's good for him. I mean, he was gifted a 2 million car. The church announced him yesterday in a very beautiful video. It's one of those. I think personally, it's a very good for him, Khama Billiat. But his career suffered so many injuries at Kaizer Chiefs. He's no longer the same player that he was. It can improve. I don't know if he can still come back to the PSL.
Well, let's leave Khama there and move on to a story that I've been eager to speak about. I spoke to Dr. Khumalo and we spoke about the career of Themba Zwane. He's obviously fallen off the Bafana roster over the last year or so. Hugo Bruce has not used him. He missed out on the Africa Cup of Nations. He's had a couple of injuries as well, and he's had a tumultuous time at Orlando Pirates. So the question was, seeing him now at Sundowns, in a team filled with the superstars that play there, that play African football week in, week out, that play at Bafana, do we see or foresee a revival of Themba Zwane back to Bafana?
Do you think there's a potential to revive Themba Zwane
his international career. He's playing with
a
team filled with internationals.
Yeah.
He's now going to be playing a lot more African football on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a way back to him?
The unfortunate part, whether we like it or not, that's a God-given talent. No one can take it away from him. Angifaganga, the parents didn't instill it, or any coach. It's a God-given talent. So if he unayo, and he's showing us that he's ready to be back into the national team, why not?
Pitso, why not? Themba Zwane, you look at him, his age, his movements, the amount of football he's played. Themba Zwane back at Bafana level. Do you think this is still a window open for him?
I think so, I think the one thing that has hampered Themba Zwane for a long time has been the injuries, consistency in terms of game time at Orlando Pirates. I feel like that's probably the reason why he didn't really get that much of a look in with Hugo Bruce. But now that he's surrounded by so much quality at Mamelodi Sundowns, we're seeing a lot more of his own quality also. I mean, he's only played 4 games. I think he scored a goal and assisted 1 goal. The type of play that he's shown at Mamelodi Sundowns, the fact that he's able to run in behind, he's able to identify space, he's able to pick a pass also. We saw the pass that he gave Ushalulile against Orlando Pirates.
Jeez.
Beautiful pass. So I think those qualities are going to work in his favor. And the fact that when he's at Sundowns, he's playing with players that Hugo Bruce is using at Bafana already. So he's already seeing the combinations that exist between him and those players. So it will work well in his favor in the long run.
Mahuta, you look at Themba Zwane. If you told somebody who's watching football for the first time in South Africa the last 2 seasons, and you say to them that this is one of our best players, this is, the emulation of the Jabu Pules, the Doctors, the Steve Likweleas, this is the main man, this is the Themba Zwane of Orlando Pirates even maybe, at the time, they'd look at you and say, I'm not seeing it, because he hasn't been at his best, to be honest. Is there a revival of Themba Zwane that could be on the cards?
Yeah, I think he needs to focus on the small things first. I mean, he needs to take this thing step by step. I was in a situation like that when I was playing, but first and foremost, and what is clear for everyone is that he needs to be in the starting lineup. He needs to fight to be in the starting lineup. First and foremost, that's what he needs to do. And after that, what happens there, whether he stays in the starting lineup because he's playing well, and whether he's doing the things that Rulani wants from him, then it's a different story. But first things first, he needs to find himself in the starting lineup. Because we might talk about him, we know what he can do, we know what he has done, we know what he has achieved at Pirates and all his football career, but he needs to start at the beginning and find himself in the starting lineup of Mamelodi Sundowns. In a team that has so much quality. In a team that can play without him. Yeah. In a team that can play without him and you won't even notice he's not there. So I think the first thing he needs to do is to find himself in the starting lineup, and then from there on he can work on all the other things, whether he goes back into the national team, whether he
so that's a very long-term goal, that one. First one, get yourself in the 11. Wow.
True. Get yourself in that team, in that Mamelodi Sundowns team. Whether it's rotated or not, but the coach should always be thinking about you. Should always be saying to himself, I need a lodge in this team. For me to win, I need a lodge. But that's the one of his biggest challenges so far this year, or probably early next season. I would think that would be his challenge. First, he needs to get into the Sundowns team.
I think it's up to him, honestly speaking, because at Pirates we know that he didn't take his career that much serious. If you look at his off-the-field instances, there are so many stories about him that I feel that if he was focusing on the team, he was going to be part of the AFCON squad that went to Cote d'Ivoire. At Sundowns, it looks like he wants to basically restore his career, and he's going to do that. He's good enough to be back in the starting lineup at Sundowns to be a starter, and also is good enough to be in the Bafana team. He's one of the most talented. His talent, you cannot doubt, but he just needs to focus on his football. The other thing can come after 5 years. It's already 30 years. If you can just focus on the next 4 years, let's say I want to play football, the talent is there. He can come back in the national team. He's good enough. Dr. Khumalo is right that it's a God-given talent with Lodge. He's that quality of a player. From Pirates, when he joined, from Chippa United, you just knew that he's talented. I mean, he's one of the highest scorers in the derby. Even in big matches, he doesn't shine away. He's always going to show up. he just needs to convince. Rulane already has faith in him. He just needs to work hard and make sure that he puts guys like Themba Zwane on their toes to be a starter at Sundowns.
086-000-2160 is the number you can call us on. It's 086-000-2160. Your WhatsApp voice notes on 060-552-7303.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
23 years ago, Moroka Swallows is playing Ria Stars at the Rand Stadium in a relegation decider. Philip Junior Mulefe, the Moroka Swallows kid manager. Manje Junior, masomdala, usabizwa ngo Junior still. So on that day, Swallows were also using their muti.
Yeah, but Ria Stars is more strong than me.
The goalkeeper on the day, Abram Rambo Kwenyane. Mthoki, unatseng mo.
Lesapo le kopane le skha.
Lesapo la eng?
Ke Steve ngabila mpulela no. Ska botsa ufiwa.
Wa izwa lento prochu.
Ngeyizo. Bona lo washa waba ngumsindi.
Uma bemgijimisa uba ngumsindi uyakhala.
Uyakhala manje
6 to 7 p.m.
Soccer fans, it's time to score the ultimate goal with Hollywood Bets. With a max payout of up to 30 million rand and over 100 soccer markets to bet on. Bet online now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
It's the Spark Grand Cash Giveaway with 5 million rand in instant cash to be won. Just swap your rewards card when you buy any participating product, like Nescafe Classic Coffee 200 gram or 230 gram value pack for only $84.99 and 2 kg Tastic Parboiled Rice for just $36.99. Prices valid from 21st February to 3rd March. T's and C's apply.
Nazo, and that's why we shop at Spar.
Friendly reminder that Mr. D is serving up delicious meal deals, from deals like buy one, get one free to scoring up to 30% off all selected restaurants. There's Divs, a deal to make both your wallet and tummy smile. Mr. D is pig deals are running this week only. Tuck in from the 26th of February to the 3rd of March 2024, and as always, T&Cs apply. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Mr. D app now. It's 18:43 on the Mighty Metro FM. It's Podcast Friday, and the guys are here. We've got Mahuta, our guest that we absolutely love having. But why don't you have him every Friday? Busy, Mutu. Busy.
Mesh 21.
Mesh 21. Busy.
Yeah, Lerato said it's Mesh 21.
We've got Biso as well as Nadim here. Let's get into the next one, guys. The next one, and it's important because of South qualifying group for the World Cup. Jorge Pasiero, who's the coach, or was the coach of Nigeria, has been let go, has resigned, has quit. This is a relationship that we knew wasn't great going into AFCON. He took them to the finals of AFCON, and we thought, hey, maybe this will, make that relationship a little bit better. But it hasn't. They've now parted ways. Pitso Mosimane. So I want you, it's a two-pronged question. So that's it. Nigeria have let him go. What are your thoughts on that? And on the other side, do you remember? Pitso Mosimane made himself available for this Nigeria job. Have a listen.
One thing that, to be honest, I would still say I would want to win with the Cup of Nations, maybe, or go to the World Cup with the team. I would still want to do national team. As you say, I don't choose what comes, but if you say, am I interested? I'm highly interested. I would like to go to the World Cup and lead a team in the World Cup. I think.
And he spoke further on when he went on about Nigeria in that there. He's just won his first match today, in fact, at Aba. He's won his first match, Pitso Mosimane, won 2-0. So he's got a job at the moment, but coaches have left, contracts in the middle. Biso, let me start with you here. It's a two-pronged question. Jose is gone in Nigeria. We've got qualifiers with them in June, I think it is. And then we've got Pitso, who said, hey, I'd be interested to go to an Africa Cup of Nations. There is one next year, and the World Cup.
Yeah, I think coming into the tournament, I remember we spoke to Omar or Akaktuba, and he was talking about how there isn't that much confidence in the Nigerian coach going into the tournament, right? You look at the number of games that he coached, I think it's about 22 games. He only won half of them. With the amount of talent and quality that he has in that squad, you would expect a lot more. They went into the tournament, they went as far as the final itself, you see. So it's a bit of a weird one when you look at their run in the AFCON tournament and what they were able to achieve. But then a lot of that run was also built on the solidity in defense. Up front, they didn't really get as much as they could have out of a Victor Osimhen, for example. You know, so there was a lot of issues with him going into the tournament, and he didn't really address that much of it, even though he did get to the final itself. So I'm not really surprised by him leaving the post. As far as Pitso, as a South African, I'd be a little worried, because the one thing that I've always seen with Pitso is, you know, Nedim speaks a lot about how Real Madrid doesn't care about how they play. They just want to win games. And I think that's something that Pitso could bring to a Nigerian national team, where he will get them into that winning mentality, because that's what he has built for so many years, that winning mentality with his teams.
Yeah, interesting one with the Nigerian coach. If you look at his record in the final, it was so bad. 1 shot on target, 37% ball possession. For me, I mean, a coach, if he plays like that in a cup final with those qualities, he has to go. Even if, like, I don't know, like he went to the extra, he's not the kind of a guy who was making use of the Nigerian players that they have. They've got so many players that are quality. Alex Iwobi was even criticized because the players was not playing him according to the way he's playing. Like, he's more like a playmaker. If you look at Osimhen again, so many quality, but again, the coach failed them. I feel it's a right decision to qualify for the World Cup, because you need a coach that you can trust, that the country will be behind him. Pitso Mosimane, I don't think is experienced enough to lead a country like Nigeria, because if you look at the kind of coaches that usually coach in a national team, we remember Pitso was a coach, the Bafana, he didn't do well, to a point where he couldn't even qualify for Brazil, even though he said he came with vision 2014 that is going to qualify Bafana to Brazil. He drew with Ethiopia, the team was struggling. Steve Kombela, his friend, we brought him in. Steve Kombela ended up taking over. Also, Steve Kombela struggling.
That was a different Pitso, man.
Exactly, but that's his record. We're talking about his record in the national team. He's not that good. Even in club football, the only high-profile job he had was at Al Ahly. In his last year at Al Ahly, there were so many. Most of the legends of Al Ahly, they were not happy with the way he was playing. They were not convinced that Al Ahly should be playing the way Pitso was playing. Though, yes, he was winning. He won 2 Champions League there, but there were always complaints that this is not the Al Ahly want. Nigerians like complaining too much with their national team. They are so proud of their football. I'm not sure if they can be patient enough with Pitso Mosimane to build them a formidable team.
Mahuta?
Yeah, it's a bitter, sweet kind of story, because I mean the coach took them to the final and then now he's fired. But when you look at it in a football way, what more would you want other than to get to the final? I mean, in the final, it's a lottery. It's either you win it or you don't. But Ivory Coast came from nowhere to win the cup. But I think it's talk that has been there that the Nigerians were not happy with the coach. So it's not a surprise that he's gone. And I would think they would want a coach who can get the best out of the talent they have, because they have massive talent in Nigeria. And I don't know if Coach Pitso is ready for national teams, you know, because Coach Pitso likes football and he's a guy who wants to be involved all the time in football. But with national teams, you're gonna be in camp for about 7 days, and after that you're off for 2 months. I don't know if he's ready for that, but I would think the experience of coaching in the Champions League and coaching a team like Al Ahly and also going to the Middle
Club
East,
World Cup, Middle East,
the Club Cup and all that puts him in good standing to coach a team like Nigeria. But is he ready for the break from football? Because I know Coach Pitso, he likes football and he's always talking about football wherever he is. Whether he's ready for that, I wouldn't know. But for me, he's a great coach, and I think he can do something with Nigeria if given a fair chance. But we know how Nigerians are and the relationship they have with South Africa. I don't think they'll accept a South African coach.
Well, there you go. We sent it out there and we said hashtag Ask Podcast Friday. Mpomokwena says, hey bro, please ask Nadeem if he still feels the same about Bongani Zungu when the position he's playing after his performances, especially on Tuesday. Bongani Zungu playing that central defense position, you said no. Do you still feel the same after having seen him?
Actually, I said if you want to prolong his career, he can join that position, but I don't think it's a solution. I don't think it's going to be the best defender. It's going to be a Lucas Hatebe. He's not. He has never played defense in his life. He's just being introduced. He has hardly played 5 games there. I think let's see him playing in the tough matches in the Champions League in that position. Then we'll say yes. Playing White Hart in a semi-final, then that does well. Then we can feel like. For me, I think it's too early to speak. Yes, he has done well in the few matches he has played, but it is what it is.
All right, thanks so much, Nadeem. There. Let me start with you, Biso. Your match of the weekend before we take the calls.
I think the match that's playing tonight is very interesting. You've got a Stellenbosch team that has won 4 of their last 5 league games against a Chippa United team that's only won 1 of their last 5 games. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I'll definitely give it to a Stellenbosch at home.
Nadeem, yours match of the weekend?
Yeah, I would like to go to Polokwane, Orlando Pirates and Polokwane City. The last game at Orlando Stadium, they drew 1-1. If you look at Pirates in the last few matches, they've not won in the last 3 league matches. Now they are playing away in Polokwane. It's one of those matches where you think the home team, they are not going to lose to Pirates. Maybe Polokwane will draw.
Mahuta, is there a game you're looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I always look forward to Stellenbosch, and I'm preparing for them now. I like how they play. I like Coach Steve Buckard. I like how he brings the best out of the players he has at his disposal. And I can't look forward to any other teams in the PSL because the only game that I would probably look forward to is next week when TS Galaxy play Mamelodi Sundowns. But
we're all looking forward to that one.
Because of the talk between the two coaches. Yes. Other teams, and Amazulu just sat back like a lamb waiting to be beaten. And I've never seen a goal in my entire life where
Mahuta, you always say the great points just before I need to take a break.
It's back, it's bigger, it's Randorama time at ShopRite. This Wednesday to Sunday only. Hurry and save up to 40% on homeware, small appliances, outdoor, DIY and much more. Oh, top things. Like any 50-liter Al Plus roll top bin for 80 Rand. An Essentials Black Auto Kettle for 130 Rand. Save 20 Rand. And a 6-piece Bon Voyage aluminium catering pot set for 600 Rand. Save 200 Rand. Don't miss out on Randorama this Wednesday to Sunday, 28 February to 3 March. Only at ShopRite.
Visit betway.co.za and never miss out on the non-stop action. Get way more with Betway.
It's Betway's Bumper 13 jackpot time! All you have to do is pick the correct results from 13 different games and stand a chance to win 250,000 Rand! When you bet on Bumper 13, it's always going to be a nail-biter. Only at Betway.
It's a shoe!
T's and C's apply. Licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. For gambling counseling, call SARGF on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp 076 675 0710.
Visit betway.co.za to bet on every unforgettable sporting moment. Get way more with Betway.
All right, here we go. Call Metro FM now on 0860 002160. Drop us a voice note on 060 552 7303.
Waking up, I'm too turned up.
Good evening, Andile. Type of East here, Linyora, all the way from Pretoria. Andile, Akahana Mepra, Kahana Bona, Kirkahana, Esle Bagania, Agehani. Locho urtuhiti akito sitele maragasi bimushishi mu banke mbarak maro amiti mushishi the general amiti maram shishi ma locha gasi bimushishi mu banke bona never yeah, but Mshishi won't play forever. It's like 34 35.
I mean, there's a 3-year gap between the two of them.
Yeah,
Lodge is 30.
Yeah, but Ron has a plan. That's why I brought him.
Okay, well, let's wait and see. Because, I mean, Lodge is is 30 this year.
30 years, she's 34.
He turns 31, Lodge, in July, I think it is. But no, let's go to the next one.
Good evening, Podcast Friday.
Hey.
Yeah, I agree with Nadine Ma'an.
Hey, bo.
Look, Emel talks too much. So you always blame people, this and that. You didn't get me the job because of what. No. This guy talks too much. Thank you. This is Mr. Explorer.
All right, let's take one more before we go to the calls.
Evening, Andile. Dr. Mahuta there. Yeah, you know, you are talking about a special player. Themba Zwane is a special player. That guy is a God-given talent. No one is gonna take it away from him. He can play. He can play at Bafana level and produce good result for us there. He's a quality player. Even if he was still at Pirates, when he was going to face Chiefs, I know that if he's on the line, on the lineup, then Chiefs is gonna have a problem. Yeah, all the best. He can do better. It's April in Kaizer Chiefs.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's take the calls. Let's start with Sibonelo. Sibonelo is out in the KZN, wants to speak about Kaizer Chiefs. The guys are here. Sibonelo, talk to me.
Hey, Mr. Nuba.
Hey.
I heard you when you cool there in the studio, my brother.
Yes, Bonello.
I'm very sad about Kaizer Chiefs. I think the players of Kaizer Chiefs are not respecting us. They are not respecting the Chiefs of Kaizer Chiefs. They are not respecting the logo of the team. You know, my brother. I'm very disappointed we were beaten by an Emel team which came from nowhere to beat us in Nedbank, my brother. I'm a disappointed supporter of Kaizer Chiefs, including my friends, my brother. I'm not happy at all. Tomorrow they are playing Swallows. I don't believe in them. I think they are going to lose the game against Swallows tomorrow, my brother.
Yes, Manel, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for talking to us. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry's out in Mpumalanga. Also wants to speak about Chiefs. Jerry.
Yeah, Unjan.
No, I'm strong, Chief. Winner.
Yeah, I'm strong too. I want to say something about what you have said there with the guys about the coaches, poor players. I think you mentioned Manyama, Khama Billiat, CBD, Kikentoli. I can add Castillo. When he arrived there, he was hot. Now he is no more hot like before.
So it's beyond football, right?
When I'm looking, the problem is the coaches that we are having. Kaizer Chiefs never coached by a local coach and become successful.
Stuart Baxter is not local. Ernst Middendorp is not local. They were all there.
Ernst Middendorp from the season he came here. He never done well at Kaizer Chiefs.
He did. First season he won 2 trophies with Chiefs.
He won 2 league titles, yeah.
Yes, but his game was not a Kaizer Chiefs style of play.
So you want a game or you want to win?
No, Kaizer Chiefs were not winning just for when we are kicking the ball just for winning. We win with style.
All right. No, I hear you.
Style of Kaizer Chiefs.
When last did you win with style? Thank you so much,
Jerry. Let's go to Jimmy. Leave Nadim alone in his style. Jimmy, you're the last one. You're the last one, my brother.
And Lukele.
Hey, Jimmy, do they still need a holding strike?
I'm a bra. Who is the one good well?
Sure, Jimmy.
Nadini, couple of questions. Okay? You think Yusuf Mart is the material of Kaizer Chiefs?
No, I don't think so.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Kumakau. That's it, Mahuta. We always love having you, man. We watch you on the podcast there by Mamelodi Sundowns, and we support everything you do. Thank you so much for always gracing us with superior knowledge as somebody who not only played the game but mastered it. Thank you so much.
Mesh 21.
Away. Thank you.
He's out of here. Mesh 21, Mahuta. He's gone. Guys, thank you so much for popping in, yeah?
Thank you, Andile.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Hey, Ian Wembin.
Always.
To switch on your mic.
Which one?
I think that's the one that doesn't work, in fact, because I tried that one. So take that one there. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, grand.
100%.
You're dressed not to being.
It's always a fight, you know.
Can you fight your non-dancing?
People do not go on the Metro FM Twitter page or Instagram page, but I tried.
No, you didn't. You are horrible. You're the worst.
No.
What's the challenge called?
It's it's that.
What's the challenge called?
It's just
Chalabam.
I don't. Yeah, bo.
Chalabam.
It's because I don't drink. So, and the thing is, Somizi comes in the studio and he says we are doing this challenge. He doesn't even say let me teach you guys for 3 seconds.
It's
he
so
just
easy.
says this is it. Let's go. Come on, Andile.
Yeah?
No.
What do you have going on the show?
You know, the same old features that you love. War of the Worlds, Love Back Hits. But talking about War of the Worlds, maybe you can help me out here. I think hip-hop, I'm going to be battling with it could possibly a super corny track, but here's a riddle for you. You can play it 1,000 times, but only on this day.
Today is what? I don't even know what day it is. The 1st of March. I don't know. What is it?
No, well, it's a Friday.
Freaky Friday. It's Friday night.
No.
You know when he played? You're making me feel dumb now.
Look, if this was like 15 years ago and we were still playing Kells, it would be as corny as playing Thank God It's Friday.
Thank God It's Friday. TGIF, yeah.
It could be that corny if we were still playing Kells. But if you can't figure it out, I guess you're going to have to listen to the show. War of the Worlds is happening at 1950. That's at 10 to 8.
1950. I'll be in my car.
All
Take
right.
it over.
Where I want to be.
It's about damn time.
It's the place to be.
How we feeling? Turn up the music.
At the convergence of the melody and rhythm and the voice and the people who can hear it, love it, dance to it, and rejoice. Where the beat is the message and the message upbeat. Where ignorance is erased and information sets the pace. Where ambition is the mission, the destination, inspiration. And the fuel in the tank is pure unleaded perspiration. Because this is where we meet, on the corner of here we are and where we want to be. Metro FM, it's where you want to be. Durban.
Coming out your stereos.
93.0.
Let's go.
Metro FM, your coolest urban radio station. It's where you want to be.